Welcome to the WD168. God gives us 168 hours to live, love, and enjoy every week. This is our take on this 168 from the WD. Week 3 in a war against Armenians worldwide. 3 weeks our young men have been on the front battling the terror caused by the Azerbaijan government with the support of Turkey. Now brave women have also taken arms in defense, as have several priests who have left the monasteries and their positions to stand united as one Armenian people on that front. 3 weeks the world has been playing monkey. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. But the worldwide Armenian community is not staying quiet. Anything but, right? It's ironic, isn't it? The Turks created the diaspora, this worldwide network of Armenians, when they exiled us during the genocide of 1915. And now we're standing up in all corners of the globe against their violent aggression towards the Armenians. Over the week, we saw demonstrations and protests in many of the major cities of the world, from down under to Buenos Aires, in Europe, and of course here in the United States, in many of the major and minor cities of America. Demonstrations were peaceful. Over 150,000 Armenians went to the streets in Los Angeles alone in a peaceful show of solidarity. Kind of wild when you think that on the same day the Lakers won the title and the same streets were riddled with looting. Come on, they won. You get it, don't you? Take a hint from us, an example from the Armenians. Revolutions come to us in velvet form, as do our protests. But sadly, we know the world doesn't play by those rules. And so we are engaged in a massive struggle for self-preservation. Demonstrations at CNN and at the LA Times yielded some steps toward ungagging the mouth of the media. You sort of expect this kind of denialism from people who are more consumed by a fly on the head of a candidate than a huge mega machine of hatred that's trying to devour and end the existence of a people who have been peacefully living at the base of the biblical Mount Ararat for millennia. You expect it from some, sure, but what about denial and betrayal from the unexpected, from the so-called friends? Oh yes, you heard about Israel and the weapons of war they supplied to the Azeris, but how about the defense of their actions from none other than Christianity Today, supposedly a magazine of contemporary Christian thought? Their advice to Americans? Ignore it, ignore the Armenians, the first Christians on earth? Can you imagine Jesus saying, ignore people whose children are being targeted, whose churches are being desecrated? And how about the LA Council of Religious Leaders? Where are they on the issue of war, of huge mass killings by the Azerbaijans, and paving the way to genocide? When an ambiguous letter came from them, His Eminence Archbishop Hovnan Derderian, our primate, who happens to be a member of that council, fired off a letter of reprimand, as he did to Christianity Today and to the Jewish leaders. There is no justification for violence, nor for inhumanity against anyone, let alone the small group of Armenian people peacefully living in their homeland. The words of the civil rights leader, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., seem to echo hauntingly today. In the end, he says, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Look, this is not about a border dispute. This is the Azerbaijan army, Azerbaijan people attacking Artsakh. This is with the full support of Turkey, with weapons of war from Israel and fighters that were recruited from ISIS. Do you get what's going on right now? This small little Armenian army is fighting the Azerbaijan army, the Turkish army, ISIS. Have we gotten so apathetic that we close our eyes to this? In 1915, the world was looking elsewhere and the Turks got away with not murder, but with genocide. And today with COVID-19, race relations stress, environmental issues, presidential elections, and the politics that go with that, and this weekend the Lakers win, people are occupied with so much. The Turks are getting away with it again. You may think this is exaggeration, hyperbole. Just remember that in 1994, when the Rwandan genocide took place, all it took was the O.J. Simpson trial to preoccupy the attention of the world just long enough for the slaughter of 1 million people in Rwanda. The All Armenia Fund has been designated by the government of Armenia, by Echmiadzin, the head of the Armenian Church worldwide, and by pan-Armenian organizations to be the collection point of our funds. Beyond war, we are now looking at a humanitarian disaster of huge proportions. As civilians have been injured, children are recovering in hospitals and shelters. There is feeding, medical supplies, and medicine that have to be delivered. Our Sirpazan, with his priests and deacons and congregations, has been working tirelessly, increasing awareness for these needs. From his meetings with community leaders, politicians, with government officials, to the fundraising at places like the Armenian Consulate, to his many blogs and his video logs, he's determined to get the message out, as should all of us be. Please check out the diocesan website to get the entire story and coverage and to hear the latest ongoings, to read about it, to see the videos, and share them with your family and friends. Many Armenian organizations and non-Armenian organizations are using the diocesan headquarters as a collection point, as a shipping center for articles to go to Armenia. Sirpazan has said he is pleased with the millions of dollars that have been brought in from our people, from diocesan churches, from benefactors, but he always remembers that it is never enough. Next to the life of even one Armenian soldier, one young man who gives his life, says Sirpazan, there is not enough that we can do. The appeal to give is being heard all around us. Please make sure that your giving goes through the Armenia Fund. Be certain that when you give through our diocesan churches, 100% of your donation goes to the Armenia Fund for the resistance effort and for humanitarian needs. With the many images that are coming out of Armenia, we are incensed and frustrated, being so far away. But we are consoled to know that we are connected with our brothers and sisters through our prayers. Don't ever underestimate the power of prayer. Please remember Artsakh, Armenia, the troops, the people in your prayers. Say those prayers with your children, whether they're grown up or young. Let's get into the habit to include this very special and unique space, this holy space on earth, in our prayers. There is one Armenia, and this is the moment to stand up and be counted. A few days ago, we were infuriated when the Azeris struck and tried to destroy the holy shrine, Ghazanchesots, in Shushi, Artsakh. If you've been to this church, you know that it is a spiritual vortex of energy, and they hit it with bombs. And only 2 days later, Sevak Avanesyan sat down with his cello and played Gomidas's Gurung in these rooms. I leave you today with this excerpt of his playing, because this is the spirit of the Armenian people that they will never kill.